What's up, everybody? We're coming on to 10 years of the BIONIC era. I just saw someone tweet something about, like, it's 10 years since Not Myself Tonight came out, 10 years since the BIONIC era started. I did want to do a BIONIC album review, which we definitely will be doing at some point, probably this month. First of all, BIONIC, to me, that album, justice for BIONIC, bitch. Justice for BIONIC. Like, let's start that campaign. Because this album, I feel like it really is, it's so underrated. It's truly incredible. Like, I love that album. It was, like, my whole soundtrack for, like, 2010. Still going into 2011, that shit was on repeat. Like, I loved it. Granted, it's a little bloated, but, you know, a little too many tracks, some fillers here and there. But overall, the songs, there are enough songs to make, like, a perfect album that even with the track list or whatever situation, we're going to get into that in the album review separately. But what we're here to talk about is this era, which was a hot diggity dog ass mess, bitch. It was a hot goddamn mess. Let's start from the beginning. I remember the premiere of Not Myself Tonight, the song. iHeartRadio premiere, Ryan Seacrest. I was sitting there on my website, right before I went to my friend's house. I was like, let me pop in. Christina Aguilera, new comeback. Like, I'm so ready. Love her. Stan her. So, Not Myself Tonight comes on. And I have to say, when I heard it, I was really unimpressed. I did not like that song. I thought it was generic. I still think that, I'm not gonna lie to you, I did not like that song. Over the years, I've actually felt like it was catchier, but I will say when I first heard it, I didn't like it. I didn't think it was fitting for, she came out talking about this is gonna be a very futuristic album, like electronica, and we got this person, that person, Peaches, and that, talking about all these people, like Santa Gold or whatever she was talking about, all these producers you never heard of at that point, or you have, but they're very, like, underground, indie. So she was really kicking it on, and then she gives us Not Myself Tonight, produced by fucking, like, I don't remember who that was produced by, but someone fucking generic as hell. And, I didn't like it, but I will say, but let's get into the real meat of the discussion. That song was not that bad. I didn't personally like it, but it was a good song. Does that make sense? It's generic as hell, but it was definitely something that you could blast to and enough people would like it for it to be like a top 10 radio hit. You know what I mean? Nothing for it to like really fall apart the way that it did. So let's get into the real tea, which was Miss Perez Hilton. Let's really keep it real. That was back in the day when Perez Hilton had a strong hold on the industry and like what people thought, and he was that bitch. Unfortunately, I never liked his ass. Didn't like his opinions. He was like a Wendy Williams, worse. But he was like a Wendy Williams where like he would always talk about music like as if he knew what he was talking about at all. He had the worst taste. Never knew what he was talking about. Oh, like just talking shit. Remember, Gimme More came out. He was like mediocre. Always just trashing music. Always. And swearing he knew taste, and he had none whatsoever, and he still has none. But that bitch went on a whole goddamn, slander promotional trail of trying to drag BIONIC and Christina Aguilera. I remember. And it made, to me, I feel like it started in 2008, maybe, when Christina had that, like, futuristic vibe going on at the VMAs, and they were like, oh my god, she's trying to be Gaga, she's trying to be Lady Gaga. And that was Perez Hilton who was really spreading that. And I didn't understand that because, to me, Gaga wasn't even, Just Dance wasn't even out in America yet. Like, what? It wasn't even like Gaga was not really a thing yet. I don't even know where that came from. That's one. Two, Not Myself Tonight sounded nothing like, wait, oh, was that song produced by Red One? Was it? It might have been, bitch. I don't really remember. But point is, to me, the song sounded nothing like Lady Gaga. The music video looked nothing like Lady Gaga. Like, the whole thing was Perez Hilton trying to say, Christina is so jealous of Lady Gaga. Christina Aguilera thinks this of her and that, and she's trying to be her, and the song sucks. She sucks. Like, went on this whole fucking thing, and it just spread like wildfire. I remember the only thing that anybody was talking about was fucking the fact that Christina's trying to be Lady Gaga. That was it. And that she hates her. Like, that was, like, the rumor. I felt like that was being spread all around the web. And it was like, oh, so Christina's gonna come back and just do Not Myself Tonight and look like Lady Gaga. I was like, girl, she don't look like Lady Gaga. Like, first of all, that music video was a very clear tribute to Miss Madonna. Like, it was very clear. It was so obvious. It was literally a tribute. And Christina said it herself, so I don't know why the girls were really trying it. They're trying her. So that blacklisting, blackmail shit, whatever the fuck was going on, I didn't care for it. I didn't like it. And that kind of just tumbled the era down. Just to come back from years of not having an album, and the first thing that's going on is slander from Perez Hilton. Like, bitch, you know, you almost had no winning chance because Lady Gaga was at the pinnacle, the peak, like, of her fame, like, really becoming huge. And then you got someone trying to spread that Christina is jealous and envious and hates her. It just created a clash that was it just ruined the whole album and the whole project from the get-go. It really did. So, Perez Hilton, fuck you, because you were really... I mean, to me, I didn't think Not Myself Tonight was the best choice for the first single. I feel like she should have went with something else. I thought she should have went with Bionic, to be honest. But the real point of the problem is it didn't, like, with Not Myself Tonight, let's just say it flopped anyway, right? And there was no Perez Hilton, no Gaga comparison, none of that smearing going on. You could have easily redirected the era with a different song. You know what I mean? It wasn't that bad. It wasn't a big problem. So, really, he was the problem. Anyways, so, after that happened, bitch, it was just DOA. It was DOA, girl. And then she went on the MTV Movie Awards, giving us a performance of a lifetime. She really snapped. She snapped with that performance. She snapped with the video. Not Myself Tonight was an amazing video. I fucking love that video. And that album is perfect. So let's run along. I feel like the first single should have been Bionic. That's one. Should have been something really futuristic and should have went with the marketing, what you were talking about. Don't come out here talking about you're futuristic, you're this, you're that. You know, I'm from year 5,000,000. And then you're coming out and giving me this 2002 reject song, Not Myself Tonight. And then on top of that, the fact that the song was called Not Myself Tonight and they were saying she was trying to be Lady Gaga. Oh my God, the puns and the jokes just really, it was just a PR disaster. Like, oh my God, I cannot believe how, like, badly that went. But, okay, so the first single should have been Bionic because that was actually futuristic. It was really experimental while also being kind of radio ready. It had hooks and it was just a really good song. I love that song. That should have been the T. But now let's run along to when the second single, Disaster, another disaster. Like, this album was just not, like, what? There was no way to win. She said, okay, Woohoo's out, you know, Woohoo's coming out, and, that's gonna be the second single. I said, period, because Woohoo is that fucking song. That made sense. I would have done Bionic, and then Woohoo should have been the summer single, in my world. But, okay, let's just stick with what she did do, which is Not Myself Tonight. And then should have been Woohoo. I said, okay, this is perfect. And then Nicki Minaj was at that point a brand new artist. So again, with the futuristic, we're going into underground. Like, Nicki, at that point, the only big song she had was, she just went on Bedrock, I think it was. I can make your bedrock. Ooh. Like, that was the only song by Nicki that was out there. So, like, brand new artist, really get into the hype of that. You know what I mean? And being the trendsetter that Miss Christina is, she really does, especially with this album, she did get all these producers and artists that a few years later really blew up. So she should have taken advantage of that. But instead of, I don't know what the fuck happened with Woohoo. First of all, everyone's playing that song, and people still play that song. Like, and when I say people, I'm talking about locals. I'm not talking about gays, because gays, we all know they're gonna play Bionic, like, or whatever. You know what I mean? I'm talking about my local girlfriends or whatever the situation is. They have Woohoo on their phone. I was at work, and this 20-year-old white, well, actually, she's not white, she's Spanish, 20-year-old Spanish girl, local girl, straight, you know, she was playing the Bionic album, and she was like, I remember this album in, like, middle school, and Woohoo is my favorite song. I said, because Woohoo should have been the second single. And for whatever reason it wasn't, it disappeared, and then she just stopped doing anything. I don't know what the fuck happened, and then they did You Lost Me. Now, girl, why would you make, after your first single flop to oblivion, why would you, in 2010, when EDM and, like, all this party music was, like, the forefront of what was going on, why would you, in your right mind, make You Lost Me the second single in the middle of sweltering, hot summer heat of July? Girl, what in the fuck? What are you thinking? Nobody wants to listen to this goddamn depressing ass shit while I'm out in Miami. Remember that song? Actually, that was the song. Remember? I'm in Miami, bitch. We're in Miami. We're in New York City. We're in LA. We're partying. We're on the cruise ships. We're drinking. We're doing this. We're dancing. We're partying. We're making out. And you want me to blast You Lost Me, girl? Even though that song, let me tell you, that song is legendary. Oh my God. That song is beautiful perfection. And again, she worked with Sia, who was not big at the time. Like, no one really knew who that was. Unless you were following music. Like, I might know at that time who that was, but barely. And, you know, it was trendsetting. It really was. And that song was so perfect. But why would you make that the second single in the middle? And that fucking music video, bitch. That cheap ass. Oh, my God. It was so goddamn cheap. What was going on? She was like sitting in a chair and then she was like falling over and just dusty. Like, the video looked dusty. She looked dusty. She looked good. Like, she was pretty. But I mean, the special effects, like, that. What the fuck was going on? Just everything just like boiled over into just a hot mess. And then let's not talk about the promotional trail where, again, she was getting dragged left and right. Because, I mean, she could not win. I felt like, first of all, because people were such on a hate trail from Miss Perez Hilton, they were taking little things that she was doing and blowing it up into a way that wasn't even true as to what was going on. So, for example, she was on the Today Show. She's chewing her gum, chewing, and then she, like, takes it out and puts it into her assistant's hand, which, okay, that's fine, bitch. I don't know what her and her assistant does. What if I was a singer and I was chewing my gum and I was like, okay, girl, can you get rid of this? Like, if that's my girl, she gonna take my gum, and that's fine, but they were making it. Christina Aguilera, I remember the hell. Christina Aguilera throws gum at fans. I said, bitch, that is not what happened. If you watch it, it kind of looks like it a little bit, but like that was not what was going on. So the girls were really just trying it. Like, they were trying so hard to bring her down. What else happened? Where all her Bionic interviews. Okay, she was. What was the one where she was like coughing during an interview? Shoot him! Cackling, and like everyone was like, look at this bitch. But she was talking to her husband, so like again, it was another inside joke, like their own thing. So the girls were just trying to drag her down, and they succeeded. I mean, they ruined one of the best albums of 2010. Like, oh my God, it was such a disaster to me. And it was so unfairly it was just not justified, I felt. So I'm trying to think of what else happened. Bitch, I don't fucking remember. Honestly, I don't even remember. I felt like the era was so short. But first of all, let's also talk about how short it was. And how, honestly, that was the first time, like now that I'm rewinding, that was the first time a huge superstar artist that, from when I was following music, especially in the social media age, flopped so badly. That was really, like, it was kind of shocking. Honestly, like, not to be like a hating ass bitch, but like, even if you're a huge Christina fan like I am, that was a huge flop, and like no one really saw that coming. That wasn't like something that really happened where she sold like 99,000 copies in the first week, which is in 2010 really fucking bad. Like, that was really bad. And then it shot down to like 100, like on the chart. I've just never seen anything like it, and I just didn't understand why that was happening. Like, the music was so good, and that was the other thing, is that people were lying on the hate train, jumping on, and saying that the album was shit, and it was so shitty, and it was so bad, and it's so generic, and it was none of those things. It actually was very futuristic and forward-thinking, in my opinion, and the ballads were super gorgeous, but people just wanted to jump on the hate train, girl. And honestly, I will say, and tell me if you guys agree or disagree with this, I'm talking to people who were, like, on social media at the time. I felt like Miss Bionic, girl, she started Stan Wars really hard on social media. Like, that was, like, the beginning of World War III, the way that people drag down stans go against each other. I remember that was like World War III, bitch. The Britney stans and the Gaga fans teaming up on Christina, and then it just turned into everybody's fans were just teaming up, ganging up on Christina, and then it was like a fucking shit show. Like, these stan wars that happen on Twitter nowadays is nothing compared to the shit show that was the Bionic era. The way that they were scalping her so hard. And then it started, then after that happened, it really started to, whenever a singer would flop, it was, like, very, like, the way that people would react to it was very, just, like, monstrous after Bionic. Like, I remember Basic Instinct with Ciara later came out that year, and it flopped so hard. And typically when people would flop, it would just be like, haha, flop, okay, next. But with Bionic, it kind of, like, trendsetted the way that people would react to a flop. Like, I don't even understand. It was really weird. Like, they were really coming after her. And they were coming after this album. But let's also talk about the fact that it also leaked like 4 or 5 weeks in advance. Like, it leaked so early. Oh my God, there was no winning with this era. Like, from the jump, like, albums did always used to leak early. I would say like 2 weeks was the normal, and then like 3 weeks was like kind of pushing it. But that would kind of happen. But Christina's Bionic came out like leaked like 4 weeks in advance, and then songs were even before that, songs were popping up here and there and all over the place. It was such a disaster. But let me tell you, I downloaded that leak and I said, this album is amazing, girl. And I believe it was the most illegally downloaded album of that year with like hundreds of thousands of downloads. And I know you bitches liked the album. You guys did. You guys acted like you didn't, but you did. So, does anyone have any other anecdotes you guys want to share in the comments? I mean, I'm sure there's so much more. I'm just kind of going off the top of my head what was going on during that era. Imagine a Woohoo video, like that would have fucking snapped. Yeah, so let me know your little anecdotes that you guys recall from the era. I thought her vocals were amazing during that promotional cycle as well. The only problem, not the only problem, the biggest problem was just Perez Hilton ruined it from the get-go. If not, let's pretend that he was out of the picture. Let's just pretend that. And we're gonna, what I would have done is Bionic would have been the first single. And I remember they wanted Glam. Christina was originally supposed to release Glam as the first single. And then I think her label was like, nah, you need to go back in the studio and make another song because we need a hit. And then they did Not Myself Tonight, which it just felt inauthentic to me, but that's a whole nother story. So what I would have done was Bionic, not Glam. Would have been Bionic. Then it should have been Woohoo, summer single, smash. And now let me look at the track list, girl, because it's kind of hard. Woohoo would have been the second single for me. Third single could have been... By that time, it would have been like fall. I would have made it. Then You Lost Me could have came in through. Fourth single, I would have made probably Desnudate because that was a fucking classic. Yeah, those would be my 4 singles, and then honestly wrap the album up. That's it. I mean, 4 singles is enough. I would have loved a video to Elastic Love. I felt like that was iconic. That is one of my favorite songs. Maybe a 5th single for Elastic Love if everything was going well and to see how that experimental track goes. But imagine this as a visual album. Oh my god, I have so much to say for the review. Like, we're gonna really go into it. But yeah, it's just a shame what they did to this album, girl. They scalped her. They took her comeback from her. They took this great forward-thinking album and they really shat on it. And they attacked her to the dust of hell. They really did. Yeah, and it was such a short-lived era too. I was so used to at that point watching especially back then, eras were at least 4 singles minimum, 5 singles. So for someone to come back from their hiatus for so long and just give you 2 singles, and she said bye. She said, I'm peacing out. And then she divorced her husband. Then Burlesque came out, and oh girl, oh my lord. Jeez, I remember those pictures of her on the cruise ship. You don't remember that? Her on a boat in the middle of the summer where You Lost Me Out and Bionic flopping, and she was just sitting on that boat, sad as hell. She's like, oh, I'm done with this shit. I'm done. Because y'all treat me like shit. Because they were. They were. So y'all let me know what other anecdotes you guys remember from that era. Do you guys feel like the album was unfairly judged, the album itself? And do you also feel like the era was blacklisted from the get-go? Because I surely feel like that. And we were robbed from a beautiful era that could have happened. We really were. This should have been a big, huge album for her that year. But what the hell we gonna do? Can't do shit now, huh? So, and then unfortunately, honestly, what sucks the most about it is that it was like a domino effect into the rest of her album, like the trajectory of the way that the success would come out or the lack of success. It was just it's a bunch of bullshit, girl. And I would like to fight Perez Hilton, so yeah. Y'all let me know what you guys think of that era, that album, and thanks for watching.